Hey guys, it's Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. It's an exciting day because guess what? We're back in the studio. What? I've never recorded in this studio before. I've been in here before, but I've never recorded anything in here before. And this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time I've recorded in a studio since 2019. I think February or March of 2019, like a couple weeks before the lockdown happened, we recorded some stuff in the studio, but it wouldn't have been for the Hong Kong channel, I don't think. I think it was for our other channel. So this is really exciting, and this is a really fancy studio, and it's a perfect studio for doing Blu-rays. So I have a massive stack of movies right here, which you could probably see, and these are all relatively recent pickups within like the last, I want to say like 6 weeks or maybe 2 months, thereabouts. And so some of these are movies I've reviewed already, but I didn't like extensively show off the Blu-ray, or maybe you missed those reviews and you just want to see the release. Some of these are movies I have not gotten to yet, which is why I wanted to show everything off here. But I'm starting to get so many movies in each month that it's becoming difficult to figure out the logistics of how to review everything and present everything to you guys in an expedient and efficient manner so that you know like what's available and what you should be looking for. So I'm going to start doing videos like this more frequently where I show off everything that I've gotten recently. So I'm just going to go through this pile and show you everything that's in here, and then I'll be out of your hair. I want to give a big shout out to our patrons. You can sign up for $2 a month or $5 a month on Patreon. Obviously, no pressure to do so. A huge thank you to everyone who is in there. I do Wicked Early Release videos, which are videos that come out like usually months on Patreon before they show up on YouTube. I also do a fair amount of exclusive content. A lot of exclusive content I do is movie reviews. So if you like my movie reviews, I do full like 20, 25-minute long movie reviews. I also do Blu-ray reviews sometimes for stuff that I buy with Patreon money that I just don't have time to get onto YouTube with the schedule of all the other stuff we're putting out. So like the God of Gamblers release from 88 Films, I did like a full 20-plus minute, full clips and everything review of that as a Patreon exclusive because that was one that I bought with Patreon money. So you can go check that over there. But I think about half of the things in this pile I bought with Patreon money, so this video is enabled by Patreon. So let's jump right into this. The first release I have here is one I'm really excited about. So I did like a 2-part video with Shaz and Leon of Hong Kong and Beyond about Election and Election 2. The first part of it was on our channel, my channel, Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society, and then the second part of it was on their channel, and we just talked about the 2 election films and how much we love them, and I talked a little bit about this release from Chameleon Films, which is a company out of Australia. This release, I believe, is officially Region B, but I just put this in my standard player without really thinking about it, like without getting out my multi-region player, and it played. So I guess it's Region A and B. These are 2 of my favorite Hong Kong films. These are incredible movies. I actually, as a Patreon exclusive, I did a full-length commentary on Election, which you can go and check out in Patreon if you are so inclined. But this comes with a slipcase, like I said, and it has tons of bonus material, new commentary tracks, like hours worth of interviews. Like this is the release, I think, for the election films. If you're gonna get a physical media Blu-ray release of these movies, this is the one to get. And Chameleon Films is just doing great work. They did Exiled and also Breaking News, the Johnny To films, which I have covered on the channel before. I did like a pretty extensive review of Breaking News. I can't remember if I reviewed the Exile release. I definitely showed it off at some point, but I can't remember if I actually reviewed it because it came out at a time when I had just so many releases that it was kind of hard to manage everything. But this is the booklet here that comes with this release, and it's got a couple essays in it, as you can see. And there you have it. So, I mean, I watched both of these movies. I watched a fair amount of the bonus material on here. I thought it would be more fun to do the video with Shaz and Leon and just kind of like talk about the films and how much I love them and how much they love them and do like just kind of a different format than to do like a standard Blu-ray review for this release because I was so hyped about it. But I highly recommend you checking this one out. It's a fantastic release. What do we have next? Oh, yeah, baby. Eureka. Okay, so this is a Japanese movie. Gogol 13. This is based on the manga series. There is also a very famous anime film that I believe was released in 1983 that is based on the same manga series, which is like an absolutely classic manga series, or rather anime film, which I actually did a video on for my anime channel. I do actually have an anime channel. It's called Adventures in Anime, and the idea was that I was gonna just start watching tons of anime because I hadn't seen that much of it before other than like Miyazaki and because some of the more famous stuff like Akira and Ghost in the Shell. And I was going to document my journey through anime, and then we ran into the problem that we didn't have anyone to edit the videos. So I had the videos. We just couldn't get them out. So I kind of stopped that channel. But I did review or discuss, I guess, Gogol 13, the anime film, on that channel. Awesome artwork here on this slipcase, and here is the back of the release. This film's from 1973, as you can see here, and it's 104 minutes long. And you get the artwork here is by Tony Stella, and we get the 2K restoration. Excuse me, just having a sip of my fizzy water. There's a commentary track on here and various other bonus material. And there you get that, and this is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is a Saudi Arabian film, or Iran, excuse me. It's an Iranian film, or maybe it's a co-production between Japan and Iran. I don't know, like, the exact financial arrangement of the kind of the production, but I know that a lot of, if not all of the film takes place in Iran. And I haven't yet watched it. I really do want to check this out. Maybe review it on the channel. This is as good a time as any, actually, to make a totally random announcement inserted into this video. I'm starting a new channel. So I've been trying to juggle Japanese and Korean films like maybe once every few weeks on the Hong Kong channel. I was worried that it wouldn't fit. People said go for it, and it's very clear to me that it's not really working. And so, and there's a lot of other movies that I want to talk about that are not Hong Kong movies, and I was really struggling with figuring out like how to address that and like how to kind of manage that. And I was like, I'm just going to start another channel. I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try new formats of content. I'm doing like reaction videos. And I'm doing videos where I take like little clips from movies and walk through them and talk about what I find interesting about them, almost like mini commentaries. I'm talking about screenwriting stuff, the mechanics of cinematic storytelling, kind of based on my experiences going to grad school for screenwriting and being a script reader for many years in the industry and being a writer myself and stuff like that. So plugging my new channel coming within the next couple weeks. Check it out. Okay, so now we have, this is the, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first release from Neon Eagle Video. Kill, Butterfly, Kill. This is an interesting film because it's, I think this is actually the front here. I think it was a Taiwanese film, but then there was a Godfried Ho, like IDF version of it. So there's like a Hong Kong edit of the film, but the film was originally a Taiwanese film. And Neon Eagle Video is associated with Cauldron, which is a boutique Blu-ray label, and I'm busting out the X-Acto knife, because as you can see, I haven't even had a chance to open this one yet, but I was excited that there was a new label focusing on these types of films and that I would get to, you know, show this stuff off on the channel. And like I said, just really struggling with managing time and figuring out how to show everything off to you guys in an expedient manner. So as I said, I did not have a chance to review this one. If you really want to see a review of this one, then Underground Wife is another title of this film, I believe. And then I think you can see there's the two versions of the film. So the IDF original edit, and then you have American Commando 6, an alternate cut here. But then there's another version of it called Underground Wife. So there's a lot of stuff going on with this film and the versions of it. But this is a 2-disc release. And it's got the slipcase, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like partially embossed here. And it's really nice, like heavy-duty slipcase. It's really nice printing, as you can see here. And this is like a heavy-duty booklet, and it's a long booklet. And ooh la la, look what we have here. I'm a little bit worried we're gonna have to censor. I'm getting hot under the collar here. Are we gonna have to censor some of the images in here? This is getting a little bit racy. Mamma mia, as Mario would say. I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie recently with my kids, and one of my kids has been walking around the house since we watched it going, Mamma mia. So this is like a really substantial booklet that's really well printed with really nice images, nice colors, and stuff like that. 2-disc release, as you can see here, of Underground Wife / Kill, Butterfly, Kill / American Commando 6, Kill Butterfly Kill. So next up, we have Connie Films, Vinegar Syndrome partner label, a release that I was kind of surprised the slipcase version of this movie sold out like really, really fast. And that surprised me because, here, let's show it off here. The movie is spacked out. So this is a Category 3 film, which makes sense given Vinegar Syndrome's kind of focus on kind of seedier, trashy type of movies, right? That maybe their audience would be into something that's Category 3, but it's like a youth coming-of-age teen movie about 4 teenage girls. And I tend to think of the Vinegar Syndrome audience as being like far more male-oriented action movie genre films. So it was interesting to me that the limited edition slipcase version of this movie sold out so quickly. I wonder if it's because of the Category 3 angle. It's also produced by Johnny To, as you can see right there, so that may have something to do with it. This is a really nice slipcase. I like this a lot. And Connie put out Viva Erotica with Leslie Chung and Shu Qi, which I also have. And what was the other? I thought they put out another Hong Kong film. I'm kind of blanking off the top of my head here. Let me know in the comments if you can remember. But they put out some Japanese films and other stuff like that as well. But it's a relatively new partner label of Vinegar Syndrome. I like this artwork a lot too. Like when you get into the release here, I'm just trying not to. It's like really kind of vacuum sealed there. Let's get rid of that plastic. So there's the cover there. And so Spectrum Films put this movie out in France. And I have the French release of this movie. And I watched bits and pieces of it. There's no English subs on it. So it's in Cantonese and it has French subtitles. And I don't speak any French and I don't speak Cantonese. But I did kind of skip through it just to kind of check out what kind of movie it is. And I did watch this scene in the swimming pool. I watched a scene like on the streets of Hong Kong. I don't remember this scene, so maybe I didn't watch that one. But, and you can probably see on the back here, yeah. So you get an interview with director Lawrence Lau and assistant director Sei Lo Zhe, moderated by film critic Shu Kei. Interview with actor Angela Au. Booklet with archival photographs, stills, new writing by Margaret Barton Fumo, and new art by Shui Lam Wang, and then the optional English subtitles there. This is kind of a slimmer case, too. It's not like the super chunky kind of Blu-ray case. So you can see the disc there, and I think it's just an image from the film underneath the disc, so there's nothing too fancy there. But this is kind of cool because this looks like a magazine cover, like from that era. That's kind of cool. That's a really cool image with the eye. That's actually that exact same image, not this exact same framing and stuff, but the person with the eyes painted on their eyelids. That's in The Cotton Club, the Francis Ford Coppola movie. Diane Lane does that, and it's this very eerie, strange, kind of surreal thing where you when you first see the image, you're like, "What's wrong with her eyes?" And then she opens them, and you realize it's her eyelids with. That's a very strong image there. Converse with a K and a Z. So you can see they're kind of like riffing on like a magazine format here with like the youth film aspect of it. But the slipcase here is really nice, and it sold out within I might be wrong about this, but I feel like within like a week or so of this being announced, this version of it was completely gone. But they were maybe having a sale or something like that, so people were jumping on a lot of stuff. So next up, we have a double feature from Eureka Entertainment, one of my favorite boutique labels that releases so many amazing Hong Kong films. This is a movie a double feature rather, I did an extensive like 20+ minute review of with tons of clips in it and stuff like that. So if you saw that video, you've seen this release already. It's Rich and Famous and Tragic Heroes. This is one of my favorite releases of the year so far. I should also say the same thing about the Election release. That Election release is absolutely freaking fantastic. But I love both of these movies. Tragic Hero has been a favorite film of mine for a while in terms of just like exploitation, trashy, violent, aggressive, heroic bloodshed films. Rich and Famous, I loved upon rewatching it. They work so well as one giant piece together as this epic like 3.5-hour story arc. The slipcase here has artwork by Gokaiju. I really like this artwork. This image here is specific to Tragic Hero. When you pop the slipcase off, you'll see that there's artwork on the inner case for both films. And there's a ton of bonus material here, as you can see. So we pop this off. And so this is the Rich and Famous artwork here. And then you turn it over, and there's the Tragic Hero artwork. And then you open that up, and you get the red disc for Rich and Famous, the black disc for Tragic Hero, and then if you pop the discs out, you can see that there's artwork there for Tragic Hero. Tragic Hero is also known as Black Vengeance in English, so you may have heard that title for it. It was at one point in the U.S. for a few years on Amazon Prime streaming under the title Black Vengeance, if I remember correctly. And then if you pop out the booklet here, there's artwork for Rich and Famous, and here's the booklet. This is an absolutely incredible and iconic scene. Alex Mann, I mean, I talked about this extensively in my review of this release, but Alex Mann's performance in these films as like one giant arc is I think one of the best performances in the history of Hong Kong cinema. He is like the standout from this. I mean, Chow Yun-fat, Andy Lau, like the cast is incredible, but his performance is just ridiculous. So there's Rich and Famous. And another release that I reviewed extensively and recently, this one from 88 Films, we got Magic Cop. Hell yes, I really liked this movie. I had no expectations for this film going into it, which you'll know if you saw my review. And it's the mechanics of the storytelling in this film really impressed me. Just like, you know, scene to scene, sequence to sequence, relationship of characters, the way that the story flowed, the way that the characters kind of pushed and pulled on one another and on the story. It's just really well put together film. There's a tremendous interview with Stephen Tong Wei on here, as you can see, he's the filmmaker. The printing on the slipcase here I think is fantastic. The colors came out so well. This is a nice, heavy cardstock, and it just looks incredible. This is a really fantastic slipcase. If you're super into like the aesthetic of physical media and that kind of stuff, I think you'll really like this release. It does come with a slim case here. So you pop it out and it's one of these smaller black plastic kind of sort of transparent cases. Some people have said they would have preferred a thicker case on this. I actually kind of like this case. It's very thin, as you can see there, so it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's easy to cart around in the event that you are someone who carts around Blu-rays. I don't know why you would be doing that, but in the event that you are, and then so you can have there's a poster here. This is the original Hong Kong artwork there, and then here you have Sean Longmore did the artwork for this slipcase, who's done a lot of 88 Films artwork recently, and that's really fantastic artwork. And the original Hong Kong artwork also is reversible there if you want that, so you can pop out the thing here, the cover, and flip that over. So there you go, 88 Films. Magic Cop. So now we have some more Eureka stuff and some Japanese films and some films I reviewed. I'm going to shamelessly plug myself with this next one. I reviewed the crap out of this movie. And this is one of my favorite Blu-ray reviews and favorite movie like breakdowns and analyses and reviews I've done recently. I did this and a movie called Space Monster Wong Mogwi, which is a South Korean kaiju film. I did this epic 30-minute video where I broke down both of the movies and talked about all these visual metaphors and all the social and historical context of this film and everything I think that the Tadashi Imai, the director, and Shinobu Hashimoto, the screenwriter of this film, are doing in this movie, and I included tons of clips and stuff like that in it. Absolutely effing tanked like a brick in water when we put it on YouTube. Like, nobody cared at all. And that was one of the things that kind of inspired me and kicked me in the butt to really be like, I should start a new channel. Because if I'm putting this much effort into a video like this, it's obvious that Japanese cinema is not really working on the Hong Kong cinema channel. And I thought that it wouldn't. But like I said, people really were like, you should do it. Just try it, see what happens. Because I would love to do more videos like that. And I wouldn't want to put in the huge amount of effort required to do to watch the movie, watch all the bonus features, do the whole 30-minute long video, and then no, it's not even that it's not the views as much that bothers me as much as it is the fact, and I wouldn't say I'm bothered by it, but it's just very clear to me that people aren't really interested. So I don't want to do all that effort and do something like that if people don't really care about it. I would rather just focus on Hong Kong films and not spend all the time doing stuff like this. So I want to start a new channel because I want to kind of create a space in which I can do things like that, and people, if they're interested, can come and watch it, but I don't have to take away from the Hong Kong focus of the channel. So I loved this movie, and I think this is a fantastic release, and I really, 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 and this is the Masters of Cinema line, as you can see here. This is wonderful artwork. I love this artwork. Is this Tony Stella again? Yeah, so this is Tony Stella. And so if you want to hear my really extensive breakdown of this film where I talk all about the careers of the filmmaker and the screenwriter, and I talk all about the kind of social and historical context of this film and the metaphors and everything like that, go check it out. It's on the channel. It doesn't look great because my phone broke, so I was recording with a webcam, so it's not like the highest quality video in terms of the technical proficiency of it, but it does have a lot of clips in it, and I'm very proud of that video, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I'm shamelessly plugging my review of Revenge. Shout out to Eureka for releasing this film. Eureka, put out Samurai Assassin next in a fancy-ass lavish edition like this, because it's the same screenwriter, and it's one of my favorite Japanese movies. Samurai Reincarnation. This is another one I did review on the channel. If you missed that review, this movie is batshit freaking insane. There is no other way to describe it. It's got like demons and the sky burning and decapitations and like mutilated bodies everywhere. There's a scene that takes place inside of a volcano. There's like ghosts, and it's like supernatural. It's kind of like this, it's like a supernatural demon devil trying to destroy society type of movie if it were made by someone who was on acid. The director of this film also did Battle Royale, also did the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series. Kinji Fukasaku, as you can see right here on the bottom, who was active for decades and made a lot of really famous and very well-known movies. But you could just like acid-drenched Technicolor psychedelic insanity. There's a sword fight in a burning building in this movie where they actually shot a sword fight in a burning building. So like the actors kind of got like charred and stuff like that. And Sonny Chiba's in this film. It's like a fantastic cast. It's the Masters of Cinema line, as you can see up at the top there. And I really enjoyed reviewing this one, too, and you can go and check that out on the channel if you are so inclined. And here's the booklet here. See? Severed heads, crucifixions, and this is the opening scene of the movie. Like, this movie is bananas. The booklet is awesome. You find out in the booklet, which is fun. If I'm not mistaken, it was released originally in Japan on June 6th at 6 p.m. So 666 because of like the devil themes of it and stuff like that. And this movie takes a lot of actual real historical events and turns them into this just like insane horror psychedelic fantasy thing. Okay, so this next movie was sent to me. I know nothing about it. I never heard about it before, but it looks really fun. It's called Super Legend God Hikoza. God's Battle for the Fate of Humankind. We gotta break out the X-Acto knife here to open this bad boy up. This is a DVD, as you can see, and I'm assuming it's a Japanese movie based on the names of the stars, because they are Japanese names. And here we go. And let's investigate this film together. So, Tadao and Takao. Tadao and Takaho, my Japanese is ultra rusty, are two scientists from an ultra-spatial research center who discover a mecha emitting an alarm signal. A giant monster sturgeon, like as in the fish, is approaching. This roller coaster ride includes a love story, kaiju, mad scientists, humanoid robots, all seasoned with big, absurd humor and action-packed battle scenes. From Minoru Kawasaki, director of... What? Monster Seafood Wars? What is that? It sounds like something that Guy Fieri would be. Can you imagine? Guy Fieri presents Monster Seafood Wars, a kaiju cooking show with Guy Fieri. Oh, I would watch the shit out of that. What is this movie? So this is SRS, actually, who's the same company that put out Space Monster Wong Mogwi, which is, I mentioned to you, is the South Korean kaiju film. Then that film was long thought to have been lost. And then a print of it was found, and it was released on DVD and Blu-ray by this company. So I actually didn't know that they released a Blu-ray of Space Monster Wong Mogwi as well, because I was sent the DVD, but if you go to their website, then you can get the Blu-ray if you'd rather have that. Although I will say the DVD of Space Monster looked really good. Okay, so this next thing is another thing that I was sent that I don't know anything about. I believe it is a Japanese film, and this is from Unearthed. So Unearthed put out a lot of stuff that is far too extreme for my very weak stomach. They did put out a Blu-ray of The Untold Story, which is very well regarded by fans of The Untold Story. You know, that's the very famous / infamous Category 3 film with Anthony Wong, directed by Herman Yao. And there's some bonus material on there. It's apparently very good. So this movie is called The Sound of Summer. I did read the description of this movie. I am curious about watching this film. I don't know how extreme it is. So if you know about this film, or if you've seen this film and you know the levels of violence and disturbing imagery that are in it, maybe hit me up in the comments and let me know so I know whether or not I would be able to stomach this film. In the relentless heat of the grueling summer, temperatures soar to blistering levels as cicadas emerge to sing their ear-shattering song. Months of continued exposure are enough to make anyone start to feel a little off. Anyone, that is, except that oddity the locals call the Cicada Man. Who is that strange man, and why is he always walking around with boxes full of live cicadas? It's a great question. Why indeed? Hold on. Wait. Someone should get that guy on Monster Seafood Wars, Cicada Man Edition with Guy Fieri. What's happening? More importantly, what does he do with them? As the heat starts to get to our heroine and her sanity depletes, that's a great freaking description. Sanity depletes. I don't think I've ever read the use of the word deplete in relationship to sanity. The depletion of my sanity, that's a really interesting way to put that. Anyway, real life and delusion begin to mix. Her darkest nightmares seep into our world, and she fears the Cicada Man has planted his swarm of insects inside her. Oh, gross! So is it like insect body horror? She must get them out at all costs. Thus she begins her downward spiral into extreme paranoia and self-mutilation. Oh, she just needs to make it through the summer. Oh my God, this movie sounds bananas. And look, edited by Guy, written by Guy, produced by Guy, directed by Guy, cinematography by Guy. Are we talking about the same Guy Fieri who hosts Monster Seafood Wars? Whoa, what's happening in this video? We've gone off the rails. Okay, so you've already seen this one because I did a review of this. This is just a really, really fun, like late 80s Hong Kong action comedy. It's not a movie that's gonna, win every award known to man. It's not a movie that's gonna blow your mind and make you think you discovered the ultimate lost masterpiece. It's just a really fun, silly action film. It stars Cynthia Rothrock. The movie is Lady Reporter, aka the Blonde Fury. And Mong Hoi is in the film. Mong Hoi also directed the film. You can see Billy Chow here. It stars a lot of familiar faces from Hong Kong cinema. This was released by Eureka Entertainment. And this is Ronnie Yu, who directed The Bride with White Hair and Freddy vs. Jason. And I think did he direct The Bride of Chucky too? Plays the villain in this movie. I really like the pink. I like the hot pink on the color scheme here. It's very, very 80s. And then you get the same artwork as you can see there. And then there's the disc. And you get some postcards here with the Grand Madam of the action cinema of that era, I guess, alongside with Michelle Yeoh and Moon Lee and Cynthia Khan and all, and that whole cohort, Cynthia Rothrock. And there's a lot of really good bonus material on here, too. Like, there's interviews and there's, like, scene-specific commentary with Cynthia Rothrock, if I'm not mistaken, where she walks through certain scenes in the film and, like, shares her reminiscences about making the movie. And, yeah, this is a really fun release. You will learn a lot about this movie, including the really interesting, turbulent history of the kind of behind the scenes and like reshoots and Cynthia Rothrock's rising fame and that kind of stuff. But then there's also just like fun kind of info about how the movie was made and, that recollections of the people involved. So now we have two final films here from Eureka that are older releases from Eureka that I realized I had never seen, that I had never picked up, that I really wanted to see. And so I just just decided to go and grab those with the very kind blessing of our patrons. These were Patreon purchases. Mr. Vampire. I have never seen this movie. And when the Mr. Vampire set came out, and for some reason I never got this when Eureka initially put it out, so I missed out on the slipcase and the essay and everything like that. But when Eureka put out the Mr. Vampire sequels box set with the next 4 films in the series, and I watched the first 2, the first double feature on there, I loved it. I reviewed those movies extensively. I showed off that release and everything like that. I was like, I gotta see the original because it's just an absolutely classic, incredibly famous film. Lam Ching-ying obviously is in it, and so I picked it up. So here you go, and you get the reversible artwork here, which is, I do have to say, I love these old school Hong Kong posters with like the painted artwork and stuff like that. And there's a lot of I think there's a fair amount of bonus material in here. Let's see what we have. We have newly translated English subtitles. You get the English dub track from the original American home video release. You get the English dub track produced for the film's original European home video release, the original Canton audio, new and exclusive feature-length audio commentary by Asian film expert Frank Zheng, archival interview with Chin Sui Ho, which is 40 minutes long, archival interview with Moon Lee, 15 minutes long, archival interview with Ricky Lau, 12 minutes long, and then the original theatrical trailer. So I'm just really, really excited to finally see this absolutely classic movie. I am trying to determine whether I should do like a Patreon exclusive review of this, since this was funded by Patreon, or to do maybe like an early release and then throw it up on YouTube a couple months after I put it up in Patreon. I know there's not much of urgency with that because that release is older and that film came out, 38 years ago. God damn. And then we have, this is another film that was released by Eureka in the Masters of Cinema line. This came out a couple years ago from Eureka, so again, I missed out, I think, on the slipcase, but it does look like there's a booklet in there, actually, interestingly enough. Fruit Chan, directed this movie, who was an assistant director on a lot of like Sammo Hung kind of stuff back in the day. And this movie came out in 1997, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so the year of the handover. And I hear that this movie is very much like engaged with that era in a Hong Kong history, and it's kind of about like youth culture and that kind of stuff. Sam Lee is in this movie, who's in Biozombie, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a new interview with director Fruit Chan, new interview with producer Doris Yang, new interview with producer Daniel Yu, new interview with Marco Muller, former director of the Locarno Film Festival. Oh, wow, cool, interesting. I met someone from the Locarno Film Festival probably about 7 years ago, when I was doing a Film Independent lab that I was in, and I ran into this guy at Film Independent, and I was wearing a Godard shirt, and he's a huge Godard fan, and he was talking about Locarno and how Godard is like, you know, all the people who go to Locarno, because it's kind of like an experimental film festival, independent experimental films, and so they all love Godard. So he like stopped me and asked me about my shirt, and we talked for a bit. So there's the booklet featuring new writing by Asian filmmaker, Tony Raines, no shit. And then new film historian Alexandra Heller-Nichols, Fruit Chan's director's statement from the film's original press release, wow. And an interview with director Fruit Chan from 2017 after the film's restoration. So let's take a peek inside here. So I thought I was not getting the booklet because I thought like the limited edition version of this was sold out, but maybe there wasn't a slipcase version of this? There must have been, right? Eureka always does the slipcase versions. Maybe I'm wrong, but you'll let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, I'm sure. Let's have just a peek at the booklet here. So director's statement, as you can see there, and then here's the Tony Raines piece. Image from the film. Alexandra Heller-Nichols. A Hong Kong instant classic in conversation with Fruit Chan. Oh, wow, that's really interesting, the image of the restoration there. And there you have it. So those are all of the, well, actually, I don't think that's every single thing. That is the vast majority of the movies that I have acquired for this, specifically for the channel. for I started getting these around early June. So as I'm filming this, I think about 6 or 7 weeks ago. So let me count the number of movies we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 movies. So as you can see, it's a little bit difficult to manage getting all the content out on all of those things while I'm also doing all the other videos that I'm doing. But I do try my best. If there's anything in there that you really, really want to see me review that I haven't reviewed on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comments. My name is Will, Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. I hope you like this fancy-ass setup in the studio here. Thank you for watching this video, and we will see you next time.